For more, let's bring in Contrarian Thinking founder Codie Sanchez. Codie, thanks for being here. And I want to get your take on this. The administration is pushing it hard. We've been talking to Mike Rowe about it for years now, and especially with what we're seeing on college campuses, the cost of education, but the anti-Semitism, the wokeness, the progressive left agenda, making these campuses a breeding ground. You have to say to yourself, why wouldn't somebody choose a trade?
Well, I think they are choosing trades, right? We're seeing, we just looked at a poll going back 10 years ago, and millennials, only 19% of us were interested in blue-collar jobs or the trades. Gen Z, recent polls suggest that more than 42% are either interested or going towards the trades. So I think if you have $100,000 in student loan debt, or you have a $100,000 out of college degree, salary, what are you going to choose? You're going to go for the trades as opposed to the debt.
Well, what about the return on investment for the younger people? They see their friends who are living multiples to a unit, trying to pay off student debt, wondering where they're going, and others are buying. Maybe they're buying a condo, maybe they're buying an apartment or a starter home, and they're doing it without a lot of debt. And I think there's an element of jealousy. Why am I not doing that? And I think, you know what? Gen Z gets a bad rap. I'm pro Gen Z because there are so many out there that are just trying to get ahead. They're not all living in New York City and LA. They're living all around the country trying to figure out what to do.
Well, I mean, think about it. It's not only that we give our students a type of loan that they can never remove themselves from because they can't bankrupt their way out of student debt, but we make them wait 4 years to actually start earning. So it's wait, don't earn, and pay us 6 figures. And I think this generation is saying, no way, home prices are too high. We need to start earning today. And oh, by the way, Zoom meetings all day in a corporate Google office, it's kind of miserable compared to being out and doing things with your hands.
That's if you get the corporate job at Google, because a lot of these kids aren't studying things that are giving them practical skills to be able to get a job that will help them pay those crazy loans back. That's the other aspect of this, because some of the offerings that the universities have. So you think about not only the cost of the school, but the time that you're not working, the 4 years that you're there, and not bringing income in. We were talking to high school students that have already secured and lined up what they're going to be doing, and they're making money.
Yeah, I mean, the average marketing degree makes somewhere between $37,000 and $46,000 a year the first year they graduate. That is a long time to pay back those loans. Whereas in our portfolio companies, we're seeing actually former college students who went to Wharton, I mean, expensive schools, choose to go become window cleaners, to go become roofers, and then become owners of those companies. They certainly can't own Google, so I understand why.
And think about labor rates. I mean, if they do really well, especially you get the right job, maybe it's a private sector union job, that can add up. All right, let's move on to this. The American dream up for sale. I like that one. And people are being encouraged by you to buy land. What's going on here?
I think there are 2 generational wealth transfer creation events happening right now. The first one is in boring businesses, just like we talked about, these Main Street businesses, HVAC, plumbing, etc. And the next one is in unwanted land. So while we have at this time housing at a level of which we have never seen it so expensive because of the cost of salaries and the fact that we're not having wage increases, we have unwanted land being transferred, some people say to the tune of $24 trillion over the next 20 years. And so I think if you can't buy a house in Manhattan, which, by the way, who can, then maybe you buy an acre 2 hours north and you start to own a little piece of America.
I think that is fantastic. You know, you look at a stock market that's pretty high right now, and it's scary to even want to get in at these levels. And you think about something like that, especially for somebody who's young who can buy that and hold it. There are long-term dividends there.
By the way, good job. You can still buy stock in the market. You can buy a little bit at a time.
Right, you can diversify.
You can invest.
You can do both. Well, I mean, and there's lots of ways to play this land game. You know, you can do land leases where you can go to farmers right now who are 65 plus on average. Most farmers are, and they don't want to manage 100 acres anymore. So what are they going to do? They're going to sell to a big conglomerate, or they might allow you for $500 to lease a little piece of land. Then simultaneously, we have the federal government with the FSA that said, hey, we will actually give you grants for people who are amateurs in farming, and you can come in and you can actually buy land with grants.
Well, I'd like to see Americans buy it instead of the Chinese, which they have been. Codie Sanchez, thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Thanks, Codie.
Thank you for having me.